talk about facts, and the fact is that we are here as a body to dispense justice and fairness to all Marylanders across this state. And I'm disappointed that the minority party wants our people, our citizens, to go it alone based on their proposals on this budget. They want every man to fight for themselves. And that's just not how this works. Because we got to think about how wealth was developed in this country. We got to think about the wrongs that need to be righted from history. That black and brown and marginalized and poor people are in the place that they are because of unfair policies that have been passed down through the ages throughout our country and through this state. And so I'm proud as a member of the Appropriations Committee to support this budget that takes in mind all Marylanders, especially the most vulnerable of all of us. We will not forget them. We will not leave them by the wayside. And the saying goes is that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, we all got to go together and row in the same direction. And so I'm going to explain why I'm supporting this budget and why the work we've done on our subcommittees is so important and should not be sized by the fear-mongering of the minority party. Let's talk about the blueprint. The Republicans want us to act like an investor who's just jumped into the stock market and sees the stock market plummeting a little bit and wants to pull their money out immediately a couple months after investing. We have invested in children, our future, the future leaders of this state. That investment is not going to magically appear and we're going to have the top schools in the country overnight. Now, I wasn't here when we made that investment, but I support it to the fullest because there are children in Baltimore City who don't have heat in their schools. There are children in Baltimore City who have to go to school in 100-degree temperatures. This is what is right and fair to make sure that we see our investment through. And that's why we refuse to come off of the investment that we've made in our children, especially those who need the community coordinated services that we're going to be providing. The teachers that need the collaborative time, $122.4 million that we're investing in that. $605.8 million increases to local aid to your schools in every single county. That's what governance stands for. And how do we create economic growth in this country? In this state? Maybe by having the best schools possible. If we continue with our investment, we're going to see the economic growth because people are going to want to stay. Just like in Baltimore City this year, we had our first year of not losing any population numbers. Because it's working. I talked to my chair about it, and he told me that the blueprint model is working in Baltimore City, and it will work everywhere else if we stay the course. So I know there's 38 people in here who's not going to listen to anything I got to say right now. But to the 102, this is for you. Stand firm, 10 toes down on this budget with us. Because it's the right thing to do for Marylanders. And economic growth, we're investing $136 million in economic growth for our state. $27.5 million in Tradeport Atlantic so that we can get folks to work. $200 million, yes, in salary increases and COLA increases for state workers because the biggest supporters that we have for our citizens are our state workers. As you saw on the night where the union workers were standing on Lawyers Mall and about to shout down the House of Delegates walls. Those are the people that we need to be protecting. How about dealing with the issues of social justice for juvenile offenders? Where was that conversation yesterday from the Republican Party? we have committed $5 million in additional funding for juvenile services this year to ensure that we don't have to go back to last year and make a law that has to place young black people and brown people and poor people that are 10, 11, and 12 years old into prisons, into the criminal justice system. This is what our budget and our morals and our values are about in this budget. Stand 10 toes down. And the most proud thing, most thing I'm proud about in this budget is what we've done in the healthcare realm. We worked together. I worked with the chair of my subcommittee, the good lady from Montgomery County. And we saw that $15 million was about to be snatched from our cancer research centers, some of the top in the whole nation, that have produced 400,000 cancer survivors in the state of Maryland to date, one of them being my mother. And they said to us, if you take this money from us, we will be downgraded. We will not be able to provide the research that we need for Marylanders who are suffering some of the most heinous, some of the most terrible situations that you can imagine. We restored that with the leadership of our speaker, the leadership of our committee chair, the leadership of our subcommittee chair. We made sure to make the tough decisions. $15.6 billion. What does that number stand for? This is the thing I'm most proud of. I was at St. Bartholomew's Church on Sunday, visiting with people in my district to talk about this budget right here. And although there were a lot of people in the audience, there was one person on Zoom who was really special. She logged in and she was appearing on video from her hospital room. And she made one specific request. She was an 85-year-old black woman. And she said, "Don't take my Medicaid. Don't take the Medicaid from poor people across the state." And guess who that lady was? Former delegate, former senator, the first Afro-Caribbean woman to be elected to this body, Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam. So, Dems, I'm here to tell you, stand 10 toes down for this budget. It is the right thing to do. Do not disappoint the good senator, and do not disappoint the constituents that need you the most right now. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.